All right. It is Winning Women's Wednesday.
It is. It is. I'm so excited.
Yes.
And we're in Mental Health Month.
Yes,
All of
there is
May.
that as well.
Yeah.
And I'm here with my fabulous co-pilot and co-host, Michelle. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
And we have an amazing guest, Miss Lori Martin.
Good morning, everybody.
She is the president-elect for the Women's Council of Realtors of Dallas.
Yes.
And she is team leader for Keller Williams.
Yes,
Which
ma'am.
office? Because I already forgot.
It's okay. So we are DFW Preferred, located in Capel.
Yes. Yes.
Love it. And so that is absolutely a Winning Women's guest appearance right there, for
Yes, it
sure.
is. Yes, it is. You run a big office.
Yeah, it is. It's a pretty substantial size. I mean, we're 170. We're working to build it up.
Okay.
Our goal is 70 agents this year.
Wow, that's incredible.
Love it.
That's incredible. Awesome. Awesome. What's our Oracle got for
Okay,
us today?
so the topic today is... Da-da-da-da.
This is kind of the funnest part because you never know what you're going to get.
And it kind of parlays onto what we had last Friday. So
Okay.
I don't know if GPT is like looking over its own shoulder because these are two separate threads, but it is basically success. And the quote that is based on success isn't about how much money you make, it's about the difference you make in people's lives. And that is from Michelle Obama.
That's
love
a
that.
good one.
Yes. And it's basically about being an agent of positive change.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. So what's the question? Or is there a question?
There wasn't really a question.
Okay.
So basing it off the quote, so it didn't, you know what? Oh, let's see, like regenerate previous in the form of a question.
I like it. ChatGPT is the best.
It's a bomb.
I love having it on MLS now for your pictures.
I know.
That's so cool. And then sometimes it's really wrong. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, that's funny.
Sometimes I'll take an old a description of a property and throw it in there and get it all, making it sound more sophisticated. And using
yes.
different words because agents are real bad about using the same word. Nestled in
Nestled, cozy.
Backyard oasis.
Oasis.
Yes.
Okay.
Chef's kitchen. What does that even mean?
I know.
Unless there's a chef coming with it, it is not a chef's kitchen.
No.
I think anything with an island is automatically
Yes, a chef's kitchen.
Yes,
Yes.
it automatically defaults to chef's kitchen.
If it's in my house, it's not a chef's kitchen.
Oh, if in my condo, it's
Yeah.
like that room over there with the cobwebs on it.
It's the coffee room. It's where you
Yes.
make the coffee.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can confirm.
Yes.
Okay, so the question is now, what drives her?
Ooh, okay. Okay. I like this. Okay, read the quote again.
Yeah, so the quote from Michelle Obama is, success isn't about how much money you make, it's about the difference you make in others' lives.
Great. So so I'm going to ask the question then. Where do each of us want to make a difference? Can we start with you?
Yeah,
Throw you under the bus.
of course. Well, I love it. Well, I will tell you this. I've been in real estate for 21 years, and throughout my career, there were times where I needed help, and there was nobody there to help me. I was a single mom of 2 sons, moved up here in 2003 with 1 year of real estate underneath my belt, and I had to figure it out myself.
Yeah.
The one reason why I went to Keller Williams is because they did have a great education program. I did everything that they said, and I became successful. So as my career went on and I got these positions as managers and sales managers and recruiting, I wanted to give back to the agents.
Yeah.
And so single moms were one of my favorite type of agents. And I have one specifically that I worked with. And all I was her cheerleader and a person that she
Sometimes
can.
that's all we need.
That's all you need. Just
Yeah.
somebody just to bounce ideas off of. And for 2 years, holding her hand when she's like, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to do about this situation?" and talking her through it. And now she's a top producer, and I'm
That's
very
incredible.
proud of that.
That's incredible. Mm-hmm. How about you, Rick?
The thing for me now, and this was a complete and total surprise, was, for years, I was just the solo artist,
Yeah.
know, and it was like, part of it was imposter syndrome. Part of it was just, the anxiety of not having a death grip on everything that I did. But once I got team building and I would bring in, so like, I use Cruz as the example often because he's been with me for 3 years. And, 3 years ago, he didn't know as we ran from third base, and then now he's as good or better than me at everything, except for I'm just older. And so to watch somebody come in completely, literally just right off the bus and just be like, I'm in the big city. What am I doing? And to flourish and to watch the creativity. And then every once in a while, he'll throw something out there where I'm like, dude, okay, that's the new business model.
I love that.
And it's like, I didn't realize how much of a payoff, for lack of a better term, that there would be from that, where the idea of mentoring, it kind of goes hand in hand with, the single mom thing where it's like, okay, because like he's 25 and everybody that works for me are in their 20s. So chronologically, they're old, they're old enough to be my kids.
Right.
But I'm like the 55-year-old goof that, I'm the workaholic bachelor.
Right.
Right. And so not having kids and not ever really even thinking along those lines, having these sort of, Jedi apprentice guys is what I kind of couch it as. But the fact that they all come in and then also watching them, and I'm sure you guys too would have this where it's like watching the team interact where it's like, oh, first it was just me. Then it was just me and him. Oh, then it was the three of us. And then it was four. You know what I mean? Where as it grows and you see them interact and it's like, oh, they can actually do stuff by themselves with me not there.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that is like so gratifying that I would have never predicted that.
That's so cool. I love that.
Now, what about you? Because you actually even bring it into your everyday life as far as coaching goes.
And that's how I ended up coaching, because I really do love helping women with their work-life balance, especially on the entrepreneurial side, because it's so different. When you run a business, whatever kind of business that is, it's not 9 to 5, it's not 9 to 6, and it's not Monday through Friday. It can be different all the time. And with moms, there's the mom guilt. Well, I couldn't go to the dance recital. Okay, she's 3. She doesn't remember, and she sucked. So it doesn't matter. But we feel guilty about things like that. And working with women to teach them that, one, they can have a certain type of balance. It's not traditional balance, but it's a work-life balance that will keep them happy and satisfied at home and at work. And two, that it is okay to enjoy your work. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
You can love your job. There's no shame in that. Mm-hmm. And so working with women in that and really helping them understand how they can adjust their career and their life and kind of have it all in a way that's healthy and manageable for them. And it sets a great example for their family. For me, it's cultivating happy, healthy families, because that's what you're going to have for generations to come. And the more we can do of that, I think the better our world will be overall.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I will tell you on that note, one of the things that we as women are really bad about doing, the positive thing is that we give and we give and we give. The bad thing that we do sometimes is that we forget to stop and take care of ourselves. I know that whenever I had my 2 sons and I was, new to the DFW era, and man, I was rocking and rolling and working 7 days a week, early in the morning till late at night. That is not healthy. And I remember one day I'm driving down the road and all of a sudden I was like, where am I going? My brain just decided to shut off and stop working. So that's one of the things I always try to remind my agents, and especially my single moms.
Important.
Take care of yourself. It's okay to take a day off.
It is. It really is. So as president of Women's Council of Realtors, or president-elect, tell us a little bit about Women's Council. I did not realize that it was originated in Dallas.
Yes.
And
did you know this?
Yes. Was it not founded by Abby Halliday herself?
Abby Halliday herself. She's the one that started this years and years and years ago, and it has blossomed and bloomed, and it's all over the United States. Which,
that's incredible.
Yeah, the woman was incredible.
Absolutely.
And,
she had work-life balance.
I'm telling
had
you,
it down.
She did. She was an amazing CEO that ran an awesome company, and she really is the one that kind of taught us as women that we can be professionals. Think about when she started.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not normal for a woman to be working outside of the home at that time and for it to be cool.
Yeah. She wouldn't have even been allowed to have her own credit card at
Exactly.
that time. Yes.
Exactly.
It was the late 70s before women were allowed to have their own credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you think about the fact that if I have it correctly, she started with builders, and that that's a man's world today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And the idea that it's going to be the lady's name on the marquee, and she's the CEO and the driving force and all of that. That was unheard of. And then all along the way, her whole thing was about the empowerment deal, and so much so that I dare say, as a kid, I would have always associated successful realtors as women.
That's right.
where if there was a guy and he was a real estate agent, I'd be like, really? You know, and that would just be my thought. But that's because that morphed into, and there again, I don't know if it's, you know, cart, horse, chicken, egg, whatever, but the fact that growing up in Dallas and in DFW, Miss Ebby was royalty.
Absolutely.
You know? And I can remember, so I would be, or I'm friends with the owner of Norma's Cafe, and Miss Ebby loved chicken fried steaks.
That's awesome.
And so every once in a while, he would give me the call, oh, Ebby's folks are bringing her in, because like she would have an entourage, you know? And, you know, even up to upwards of 95 years old, she was still sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
And, but just the fact that, you know, she was the brand, but she actually was that person. And then to start Women's Council, like she knew a thing or two about a thing or two as far as like what y'all would be facing in that world. And even just for me running, like one of the teams that I helped run at Sotheby's from behind the curtain, I would see the interaction from the female perspective because my partner was, you know, female. And then I would interact and we would come away with a completely different perspective or a completely different, like we'd both be in the same meeting or the same conference call. And I would think it was one way and she would think it was another. And it was just very peculiar to kind of go and do a forensic on like what just happened. And I'm like, oh, well, it sounded like this. And she's like, no, it was this. And so like there, you know, for me, it's always been fascinating to see, because I think it skews, isn't it, like 60% female still?
Yeah.
As far as realtors?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, very much so. And, you know, it's always like whenever they talk about what does the successful realtor look like? Well, she usually looks like this or like this,
Yes.
you know, 50 plus. And, you know, that's usually your top producers.
Yes.
And it
takes time to build a career.
It does
it's
take
not
time.
overnight.
But it's not saying that men aren't successful, you know, because there are some pretty big producers, but, you know, right behind them is a fabulous, wonderful woman that has hurt his neck, guiding him to the right direction.
Look at her.
Yes, agreed. Well, and I've seen that, you know, countless times. And so now for the Women's Council, how is that specifically, or how is that different from, so like I was affiliate chairman at Metrotex. And so I've also been affiliate at Women's Council, you know, and participated in various and sundry things. But what is the differentiator between, say, like a CCAR or a Metrotex and then Women's Council?
That's a good question. In some ways, they're very similar, but I think that the one of the things that we strongly promote, of course, is women, but the diversity. So it's not just that we only want women in the Women's Council. It's definitely open for men too, because the information that we're providing, whether it's education or events, whatever that we do, it is for a realtor, no matter what their gender, their race, anything like that. It's very, very diversified. So.
Okay. So the approach is, or I guess the branding is Women's Council.
Correct.
But it's open for everybody.
Exactly. Yes, it is. And I will tell you, we do have some men, especially I was telling Michelle, there's a gentleman in McAllen that he is the president of the Women's Council and does a fabulous job.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So what type of professional development and network opportunities, does Women's Council offer?
Well, as far as education, there's, anywhere from talking about the NAR settlement. I know, right? Are we sick of hearing about that? But let me tell you something. All of you agents that are afraid of that, please don't be afraid. Because all it's doing is making us get back to the basics. So we're going to
making us better.
Exactly. But we're going to be much more professional already.
Clean house.
Yeah, exactly. Those agents that aren't professional or scared, they're gonna leave. But I will tell you, we also teach different things like time management. I just took a fabulous training course with Michelle that taught me time management. Guys, if you in real estate don't have your time management
It's
down,
so important.
you're never going to, you're going to just be spinning your wheels. You've got to have good time management. And we just finished that up this week, in fact.
Yeah.
And I got so many ahas out of it.
That's great.
In my calendar. And I'm so blessed that you allowed me to be part of that.
It was fun. You did great.
Yeah, and I'm excited to bring it into our office.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Talk about some networking opportunities.
So the different networking opportunities that we have, we not only it's not just women that are in Women's Council. We are allowed to have vendors part of the council.
Okay, that's
so
awesome.
we have we'll have mortgage companies part of us, insurance companies, different vendors that help us build our business. So in fact, some of our sponsors, like Tyler with Black Tie
Yes.
Moving that was just in here.
Yes.
He's fantastic.
I love that guy, and he is like one of our biggest supporters.
That's
and
awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, plus we also have the young professionals. So there's that network there. Let me tell you something,
Wonderful.
guys. These 30-something-year-old kids that we raised are phenomenal.
Yeah, they
and
are.
they're coming in, and they're amazing agents. So I'm like, how did that happen? I'll tell you why. This is what my analogy of it. It's because, think about it. They grew up with Google. They Googled everything. I think that made them, they didn't have to go like us and get that encyclopedia out, try to find it. And when
The maps go.
Or the card catalog.
Yes,
Oh my gosh!
yes, oh my gosh.
So they're getting their information. They're learning so much quicker, and
That's awesome.
that makes them much more powerful.
Well, and two, what I have really appreciated that I've seen over the last few years is colleges are finally recognizing that real estate is a professional
Exactly.
career, and you can get a degree, a business degree in real estate. And I think it does make a difference. It brings in a different group with a different background and a different level of education and a whole
Exactly.
new perspective. And I think
Different
that's
mindset
wonderful.
as well.
Absolutely. And I love that. So
if I had control over the world, one of the things that I would do is make. I know. Well,
love that.
I know. I would definitely have it to where real estate schools. It took a lot longer,
For sure.
to get your real estate license, and they went into more of the business aspect it, because right now the way it's set up is that basically when you're taking those 6 classes or whatever, you're just learning how to pass the test. Once you get into real estate, you join a company, you want to make sure you're with a company that's going to actually teach you the business. These kids that, like you're talking about, these adults, these
They're kids to us.
well, I know, but they get upset with me when I call them that. So I'm trying
Call
to
me
work.
a kid. I still want to be called a kid.
Right, exactly. We
I am
love
a
it.
kid.
Yeah, call me little girl. I don't care, But a lot of them are coming in, like I said, with that type of education, and it is boosting their business a lot sooner because they
Absolutely.
have the business aspect of it
Absolutely.
behind them.
So true. So true. So with Women's Council, what initiatives are you seeing, if any, to help support mental health in this industry?
Well, y'all, let me
'Cause
tell
we
you
need
something.
it.
I will tell you.
Or
Here's,
it'll make you crazy.
It will. It will.
Well, one of the things people don't understand that buying, especially a home, is a very emotional deal because it's where you're building your memories. So a lot of agents, and in fact, some of these agents that I've coached, I've had a lot of calls with them just hysterically crying, to be honest with you, because
I've been there.
I think we all have
think
been
it was
there
last
throughout But the thing about it is that, our job is to take the emotions out of the transaction, but we still are humans.
Yes.
And it is very, very stressful because we want to make sure that we're giving our client the ultimate best service. And when they're not happy with us as we think they are, they get upset. I've had an agent that I was talking about before, Lisa, that she called me and she was so upset. She was like, she's yelling at me and I don't even know why. It doesn't make sense. I'm like, listen, you got to remember they're taking their stress out on you. There could be an issue or something that's going on in their household that you don't know of. So finally it all ended. She closed that transaction. Guess what? That couple were going through a divorce but didn't tell anybody, or they're in the process of going through that.
Don't tell the lender.
Yes, exactly. Well, it happened after they closed, but it was like, it's not about you. We take it personal a
We
lot
do.
of times and all, but a lot of times when you're yelled at a client, it's not about you. So we forget to remember that.
Yes,
So-
and 99% of the time it is something else coming out sideways. And then even like with my guys, when I tell them if they're getting, critiqued,
Yeah.
and they're getting it, I said,
Good choice.
Yeah,
Good word choice.
it's not about this, that, or the other, in it, and then I try to give them the concrete examples, of, okay, so, Susie Realtor on Wednesday and, Janie Realtor on Thursday, you did the same thing for the same neighborhood, very similar stylistically. One loved the video and hated the photos. One hated the photo, or loved the video and hated the photo, vice versa. It's like, okay, well, they're both right,
Yeah.
and it's like super subjective, and it's something else coming out sideways, and you're a stationary target.
Yes.
So the more that you can just realize, like, oh, you're going to get punched in the face for no reason in this realm of transactions and business and stress, because from the content side with agents, if there was a way to time travel and take the photos the day before yesterday and then deliver them the night before that,
Right.
that's what everybody would want, because
Right.
everything is so on fire. And all of that trickles downhill. And just like you were saying, the stresses and the emotions and all of that come out of it, it's like buy side and sell side both have this massive anxiety producing just set of circumstances where everybody's picking up and packing and moving and, on both sides.
Yeah.
And there's no way for that never not to be a factor.
Right.
And I think a lot of folks get mistaken on like, oh no, there will be a perfect transaction. Like, oh yeah, good luck.
No, there will not.
Yeah, our job as a real estate agent is to make it look as smooth as possible. So,
Yes.
We take a lot of the stress and we're behind the scenes, trying to fix things before we bring them. We always want to bring them back to our client, but we want to bring them back after they're fixed and all.
So as a team leader, how do you tell your agents, how do you coach them to just let it slide off?
Well, I mean, we could talk about it, doing that, but
It's easier said than done, sure.
It is. But I will tell you, usually a new agent that comes in that's a hustler, their first 2 years, and I always say whenever I'm talking to them, just remember each one of those bad deals or that has the most stress and all, that is your best classroom, because that's what you're going to learn the most.
For sure.
To be honest with you, the more that they go through, the more that they and they see the success at the end, then that gives them the confidence to know, okay, it's going to be okay. So I just, I sit down with them and I explain to them, let me tell you, what you're going through right now, it's fixable. It's not, you're not the only one that's going
Sure.
through this and all, you know what I mean? And these things are going to happen. And with time, after, like I said to you just a few minutes ago, when you see that success, that it is going to be okay, then you learn to deal with it. But you just got to go, to be honest with you, you just got to go and get beat up and
Yep.
punched and,
Yeah.
those scabs over, and then you learn.
I liken myself to a bartender.
Yes.
You spend about 30 days with a family or however long it is, and you're their bartender. Good, the bad, the ugly. And at the end of it, usually everyone's happy. And then what I always do, especially there's some transactions that have been particularly challenging, I will step back and just have some self-reflection. What did I really do anything wrong? And what could I
Right.
have done different? Because as agents, we do get desensitized. I had some clients that got really upset because when the seller's agent came to pick the lockbox up off the house, the day that we closed, Super was down. So I couldn't give them the key out of the box. So she comes, she gets the box, and she takes the keys out. This has been several days after the closing, and she just puts the keys in the planter. Well, for those of us who are agents, that's a very common practice. Like it's just a key, you're gonna put the key here, hide it under the brick, all's good. They were so upset. And it took me a minute, and then I was like, okay, wait, they're upset because this is their home that
That's
they've moved
right.
into. They have multiple young children.
Right.
You have to look back and kind of reflect, okay, how could we have done this different? I understand now why they're upset. I apologize, and I've learned from it.
Right.
And we have to be really careful because things we think are not a big deal because it's just a thing all the time for us. We have to really step back and say, okay, but there's a family involved, and would I want that done to my family?
Right.
So
And the roller coaster and just the sheer volume of, same thing with my guys, where it's like, I always say evidence builds confidence.
Yeah.
So like what y'all were talking about, like if you get punched in the face 100 times, okay, well that 101st swing, whatever. I've been hit in the face a bunch.
Yeah.
But the trick there is to be mindful and not get jaded.
Yes,
Where it's
for
like,
sure.
oh, I
Oh,
don't care if you
perfect.
punch me in the face. I'm just going to do my thing.
Right.
It's like, oh, that's where it goes sideways.
Yeah. That's where the self-reflection is important.
Yes.
But the thing about it, though, is that when you get a lot of time, well, as you each each closing, each problem that you have, you learn from that, and you come up with an idea of not allowing that to happen again. So if you keep getting punched in the face for the same thing, you're not learning from that punch.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, you're always adjusting. I always say that real estate is fluid. And if you're not fluid, if you're the personality is not a fluid person, then you're not going to really make it in real estate, So you've got to continuously adjust and, figure out what new thing you're going to do to fix a problem or market or whatever.
Course correct.
Exactly.
And that was me when I first started. I was very rigid, came from a banking background. And I think over the years of getting punched in the face, but also my husband is an artist, and so he's very fluid. And that was probably the best thing that happened to me because it kind of taught me some flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I were still the very rigid banker personality that I was 20 years ago, I would probably not be here. I would not have made it this long. But it's helped me to learn to grow and adapt and really just recognize that everyone is different and what they need is different.
Yes, and the adaptability thing
Yes.
is the factor where it's like when you're in the mortgage and banking world, which I was in a previous life as well, you better be a number nerd and you better
That's
be
right.
Fastidious and just like almost calcified in how you do everything because
you can't get the numbers wrong.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
different.
And, like I was in the ivory tower at Citi or wherever where like everything's recorded.
Yeah.
Versus, like with Alan and everything being kind of like able to be like, we're fluid. It's like it's this today, but now tomorrow it's that. It's like
absolutely.
And those are two entirely different planets, but being able to bring those two together.
I think it's been very helpful for me.
Yes.
I can recognize just how people are different and how days are different and seasons and clients.
And I remember back, so I have a real estate license, but I've never done a transaction on the realtor side.
Okay.
But I've done literally thousands, over the years ago on the mortgage side. And I can remember being at Champions, probably, I don't know, whatever it was, like 7 or 8 years ago or whatever. They do the 3-day boot camp to, like what you said, teach to the test.
Yeah.
And I can remember being in there, and if there were 150 of us in that place or whatever, 148 of them were just flipped out about the financial addendum and the mortgage side of things.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, this is my actual day job. And I'm just over there. I'm number nerd guy, like, oh, no. And at like my table, I'm holding court and I'm telling them like, no, it's this. No, the APR is this. And then, no. And then I'll be like, oh, no, you always have to say this. If you're going to say this, you have to say that. And then I'm just like, oh, wow. I'm coming at this from a completely different mindset.
Yeah.
And everybody else was much better suited probably to do the rest of the transaction where I was
But you had your spot.
Yes, I had that narrow bandwidth of the numbers nerd.
I always tell my agents, don't freak out, first off, as far as math and real estate is. Business math is very easy. It's add, subtract, multiply, and divide. All you have to know is what the formula is. But as far as knowing mortgage and everything, that, you need to know the basics and all. But you have a mortgage person, a loan officer that is your partner. Lean on them. Don't try to be the one to explain all that to them. I always put it back on them, and then that way, they can explain it to what is going on in the market at that particular time, because you talk about fluid. Mortgage industry is very fluid. Interest rates, everything changes constantly.
Yes.
And education is crucial. You got to make sure that you stay educated. Every day. There's always something changing. Read those emails that come from your board of realtors. Come to the events with Women's Council as far as what's going on. Stay current. And those are the agents that are going to be very successful by staying current. And that's what we provide.
So what's next for the Women's Council? What's coming up?
Oh, my goodness. I'm glad you asked. I just...
Yes, what's on the calendar of events?
So I just had my event girl send it to me. So May 22nd, we have Coffee Connection. And we have the most wonderful, beautiful Michelle that's going to be there. That's going to be speaking to us about time management. That is something that... I hope you're going to be there.
Yeah, that had not been officially confirmed.
Well, I just did.
Okay, I'm excited. I can't wait. Yes.
And then on June 13th, we have a market update class.
Oh, that's exciting.
And on July 24th, we have Dallas and Collin County. A lot of times we will do things with Collin County Women's Council.
We like everyone.
Yeah, we'll blend together and have bigger events. And that particular, and we're going to blend in, this is 3. We're also bringing in Fort Worth with us too. And we're going to do a we're going to have our president, our state president, that's going to be from Women's Council, that's going to be here in town, and we're going to do an event together, and just
That's
a
exciting.
big education event. So
Nice.
I'll have more details that we'll be putting out, but
Okay.
that's what we got so far right
And
now.
where can they find more information on Women's Council?
So-
And sign up, gentlemen and ladies.
Yes, for sure. Well, first off, you can always reach out to me, myself, and my email is Laurie, LAURIE.Martin, MARTIN, @KW.com. We also have a Facebook page that is Women's Council of Dallas, and there's information there too.
Awesome.
But probably your best bet would reach out to me, and I'll definitely get you connected. We'll send you the application so you can sign up.
It's quick and easy. Quick and
Very-
easy.
Yes.
What's coming up for you, Rick?
Just more of same. Busy. Selling season is pretty
is
much
selling
officially
season.
here, I think,
Yeah,
already.
we're
It
in
seems
it.
to have showed up early.
I think so.
And
I think so too. Along with the heat.
Yes. I mean, I think we did almost 30 listings last week.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's been bonkers. And like Cruz is already off today. And it's like I've got a couple of shoots where I'm having to plug into the calendar myself. So it's fun to knock the rust off.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
Awesome.
I'm just looking, more of same. And real estate in Dallas is on fire yet again.
Always hot. Always
Yep.
hot. Love it. Awesome. Well, I have opened up my time management class that Lori just completed. So if you have questions about that, you can text me or go to my website, michelle@michelleozimi.com. And that's it for me.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap. Well, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
guys
Thanks for
for
coming.
inviting me. This was so
Yes.
much fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank
Yes. Nothing to be afraid of.
No, I was a little fearful, but you guys made it wonderful.
Good.
So
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Well, with that, we will see you next Wednesday. We'll be back on Friday and, more of same. Take us out, Peter.
Awesome.